Chapter 1. Waking in a Strange World. I wake to softness I do not trust. The sheets cradle me like clouds, smoother than the finest silk imported for the royal chambers. My first instinct is to sit up with princely dignity, but the mattress sinks under me and I nearly roll off the edge like a child. I grab the blanket and steady myself. This is not my chamber. This is not the palace. The air smells of something clean and sharp, like strange herbs I do not recognize. I reach for my sword. My hand meets empty air. I pat the bed. I pat the floor. I pat myself. Nothing. Not even my dagger. I swing my legs off the mattress and stand on a floor that is too smooth to be real stone. I push open the door and step into a room full of unfamiliar objects. There is a small table covered with strange books that have no pages and no seams. The walls shine like polished marble but feel like some odd material that reminds me of hardened resin. A glowing rectangle sits on a stand, bright enough to blind an unsuspecting noble. I jump back. The rectangle changes color. Before I can recover, I hear steps. I turn just as a woman enters the room. She holds a small black box in her hand that lights up like a magical artifact. She looks at me. She looks at my robe. She looks back at me. Then she screams. Not a delicate gasp. A full, ear-splitting shriek. I straighten my posture and raise my chin. I would like to inform her that I am Prince Edward of Alvirian and do not deserve such hostility, but she is too busy shouting, "Why are you in costume? Who are you? And how did you get into my house?" I try to answer with grace. "My lady, I assure you, I do not intend harm. I simply woke here and have no knowledge of how I arrived." She blinks at me like I have spoken forbidden magic. Then she presses her glowing box to her ear. "Hello? Hi. Did you send me the requested babysitter?" Okay. Got it. Babysitter. I repeat the word in my mind. I have heard many titles in my life. Prince. Highness. Royal sword. Never this one. Babysitter. Feels like an insult and a demotion combined. "Are you calling guards?" I ask carefully. She frowns. "No. I am calling the agency. You are obviously the replacement they sent me. I have commanded armies. I have attended councils. I have been trained to face political rivals without flinching. Yet here, in this strange world with glowing objects and loud women, I can only utter a quiet, 'Agency!' She waves her hand as if shooing a fly. Yes, the babysitting agency. They said the previous guy called in sick, so they sent a new sitter. That is you, right?" I take a slow breath. Prince must stay calm. I do not know what a babysitter is, but I suspect it involves work. I am not good at work. I delegated everything back home. My royal instructor once said, "Your Highness, perhaps you should learn to carry your own bag." I told him I would consider it. I never did. "I fear you are mistaken." I try again, but she is already rushing around the room, picking up toys, adjusting pillows, muttering about schedules and snacks. Before I can stop her, she thrusts something into my hands. A note, a list of duties, a schedule with symbols I cannot read. "You can start today," she says. "Start what?" I want to ask. "Guard duty? Royal service? War?" She looks me up and down. "You really committed to the costume, huh?" I respect the enthusiasm, but maybe tone it down for public outings. Costume. The word burns me. This robe was hand-stitched by palace artisans. It took 3 months and enough gold to fund an entire village. Costume? I attempt a regal tone. My attire is not a costume. It is the traditional formal wear of the Alvirian royal family. She nods politely, the same way one nods at a madman. "Sure. Great." A knock sounds from the door. She gasps in relief. "They are here. Do not worry. They will take you to the kids. I already told them to pick you up at once." "They?" I echo, but the door opens and a uniformed man steps inside. He is calm, cheerful, and utterly unaware that he is escorting a displaced prince who has survived palace intrigue but fears glowing rectangles. "Hello. You must be the new sitter. Come with me," he says. I consider refusing. I consider declaring my title. I consider demanding answers. but his hand is firm on my shoulder, guiding me toward a strange metal carriage outside. It opens by itself when he presses a button. I stare. Is this sorcery? It is a car, he replies. I enter the carriage. The seat swallows me whole. As the metal beast roars to life and carries me away, I straighten in my seat and recite the royal oath under my breath. Chapter 2. The Children of House Hale. The carriage brings me to a mansion so large I briefly wonder if I have been returned to my own palace. The building rises with bright windows and sharp lines, all glass and stone shaped with strange modern precision. Even the gates move without guards. They slide open the moment the driver presses a button. Magic or machinery, I still cannot tell. I step out with as much dignity as I can muster. My robe sways in a breeze that smells of trimmed gardens and expensive soap. I remind myself to stand tall. A prince must look composed, even when kidnapped by fate and possibly employed. The front doors open and out steps a man. Tall, straight shoulders, perfectly fitted suit that looks like armor forged from cloth. His hair is dark, neat, and sharper than most blades I have trained with. His eyes meet mine with a frost I have only ever seen from generals preparing for battle. He looks me up and down, gaze lingering on my robe. His brow rises. Is there a reason you are dressed like that? I clear my throat and summon the voice I once used to intimidate council ministers. This is my attire and I'm not supposed to be here. Weird, but fine. This costume will help you care for children, he said. What? It's not a costume, I say with authority I do not feel. Whatever. Just come in, he said. I follow him into a hall. The chandelier overhead sparkles like it ate an entire treasury. Everything looks expensive. The man, whose name is Damien, leads me through the hall with quiet confidence. He walks with the ease of a man who commands great power. He reminds me vaguely of a duke, a very annoyed duke. We stop at a large living room filled with toys that are somehow both colorful and dangerous looking. I see stuffed beasts, strange blocks, and a large plastic structure that appears designed to break ankles. Then I meet them. Two tiny children stare at me from the middle of the chaos. The first is a small boy with wide eyes and hair that sticks up like he fought a wind spirit. The second is a girl holding a stuffed rabbit by its ear. Both freeze when they see me. Their mouths fall open. I straighten my robe. Greetings, I say. The boy gasps. Mom was right. The babysitter is a wizard. I am not sure whether to take offense or lean into the title. Before I can speak, the girl picks up a plush dinosaur. She narrows her eyes at me with the confidence of a queen. Then she throws it. I do not expect an attack from a child. I have survived ambushes in palace corridors. I have dodged poisoned arrows and political traps. Yet I fail to dodge a stuffed dinosaur. It hits me square in the face. I freeze. Damien clears his throat softly behind me. They can be energetic. Energetic is one word for it. Dangerous is another. I lower the plush dinosaur with the care one uses when handling a cursed relic. A bold strike, well aimed, I say. The girl grins, clearly proud. The boy steps closer, eyes full of wonder. Why are you dressed like that? I prepare an explanation. Something noble, something grand, something that hides the fact that I am completely unqualified for the role I have fallen into. It is traditional attire from my homeland, worn by one entrusted with great responsibility. Oh, so you are a knight? The boy whispers. I pause. Yes, something like that. Damien crosses his arms. They are in your care for the afternoon. Snacks are in the kitchen. No sugar past 5. Keep them away from the indoor fountain. Indoor fountain? What kind of household requires such a warning? He turns to leave, but then glances back at me. His eyes travel from my robe to my shoes to my hair, as if trying to understand what manner of creature has entered his home. If you damage anything, tell me immediately. He says, if I damage anything? I echo, insulted. The moment he disappears down the hall, the children circle me like curious predators. The girl pokes my robe. Do you fight dragons? She asks. Not recently, I say. The boy tugs my sleeve. Can we climb on you? No, I answer immediately. They consider this, then run toward the plastic structure instead, screaming in triumph. I exhale. In the palace, I faced power struggles, betrayals, rival princes, and a near assassination attempt during one particularly dramatic banquet. None of that prepared me for this. 2 children, 1 prince, 0 training. I adjust my robe, set my shoulders, and walk toward the chaos with the confidence of a man who has no idea what he is doing, but refuses to admit defeat. The Battle of House Hale has begun. Chapter 3. Diplomacy with Miniature Nobles. The moment Damien disappears, the children reveal their true forms. They are no longer small, curious creatures. They transform into rival princes staging a coup. The girl climbs the couch like it is a fortress wall. The boy screams a battle cry and charges after her with a plastic sword that looks flimsy but feels dangerous when swung with enough enthusiasm. I raise both hands. Cease hostilities. We shall conduct this with honor. They ignore me entirely. The boy jumps from the couch arm and lands with surprising precision. I am the Dragon King, bow to me, he announces. Absolutely not, I say. He gasps. Rebel. The girl stands on top of a cushion tower she has constructed, arms spread wide. I am the Queen of the Pillow Kingdom. You may apply for citizenship. I decline, I reply. She throws a cushion at me with impressive accuracy. I decide it is time for diplomacy. I straighten my robe and clear my throat the way I used to before addressing the royal court. Young nobles, I propose a treaty. I begin. They freeze. Not out of respect, I suspect, but sheer curiosity. A treaty? The girl asks. Yes, I offer snacks. Their eyes widen. I have found their weakest point sooner than expected. What kind of snacks? The boy demands, stepping closer. I open the kitchen cabinet, praying to the ancestors that modern snacks do not require electrical sorcery to prepare. I find small square treats wrapped in colorful paper. The label reads cheese crackers. I do not know what a cracker is, but anything with cheese sounds promising. I hold them up like sacred tribute. These. The children gasp. The girl places a hand on her heart as if touched by divine favor. We accept your alliance. The boy nods solemnly. For now. Excellent. I lead them to the table and present the snacks as if I am hosting a diplomatic banquet. They devour the crackers with surprising ferocity. At one point the boy attempts to eat the wrapper. I calmly remove it from his mouth. While they eat, I outline my next negotiation step. In exchange for snacks, I request peace for 1 hour. The girl raises her hand. Can we add story time? Story time at the end of your hour of peace, I say, striking what I consider a generous deal. The boy narrows his eyes. 2 stories. 1, I counter. 2, 1.5. I say, not even sure what that means. He considers it. Deal. I have negotiated with dukes twice my age who tried to outsmart me with false promises and hidden agendas. None have ever been as ruthless as these 2. The hour of peace is not perfect, but it is more stable than any royal truce I have ever arranged. They sit. They draw pictures. They demand I draw too. I attempt a noble horse that ends up looking like a confused potato. They love it. Just as I begin to enjoy the temporary tranquility, I sense a presence behind me. Quiet, cold one. I turn. Damien Hale is watching from the doorway, arms crossed, expression unreadable. My spine straightens at once. Are you negotiating with my children? He asks slowly. Of course. How else does one maintain order? I reply. His mouth tilts at the corner. Not quite a smile, but something close. And the snacks. Tribute, I say. He steps fully into the room, hands in his pockets. His eyes scan the table, the crackers, the drawings, me. I have faced generals who stared with less intensity. My pulse jumps. They seem to like you, he says. I pretend not to feel my chest warm. Children appreciate firm structure and noble guidance. The girl points at me. He is a funny wizard. The boy nods. He made a cheese treaty. I cough. It is a diplomatic strategy. Damien raises a brow. Is that so? He walks closer. Too close. My heart attempts to bolt out of my chest. He studies my robe again. Tell me something. What is your background exactly? The question I hope to avoid. I lift my chin. I have worked with many young nobles. That is technically true. They were princes. They were hostile. Some tried to stab me. Damien's lips twitch. Many nobles. Yes. What were their names? I freeze. The names of princes from another world would raise questions. Dangerous questions. I clear my throat. You know, children. Small ones. With titles. And manners. He lets out a low laugh that does things to my composure. You are a terrible liar. I am not lying, I say with utmost confidence. You are, he replies. My pride stirs. I am always truthful. Then why are you sweating? I touch my forehead. It is indeed warm. Betrayed by my own body. Before I can defend myself, the children tug my sleeves, demanding the promised story time. Damien steps back, giving me space. Go on, continue your treaty, he says. His voice is softer than before. Warmer. Almost amused. I pick up the children's book with the poise of a prince preparing to address the kingdom. They settle beside me, leaning close. Damien stands nearby with his arms loose at his sides, watching the scene like he cannot decide if he is impressed or suspicious. Perhaps both. As I read, I feel his eyes on me. Curious. I keep my expression regal. Even as one child climbs my lap and the other rests her head on my shoulder. I am not used to this kind of closeness. Feels foreign. Dangerous. Comfortable. A strange combination. By the time the story ends, the treaty holds, the room is peaceful, and Damien's gaze has softened in a way that steals my breath. I may have won the children, but Damien Hale remains a mystery I am not prepared to negotiate with. Chapter 4. The Battle of Modern Technology. By midday the children announce they are hungry. They do not say it politely. They chant it, loudly, repeatedly, as if summoning a food spirit. I attempt to maintain dignity. Very well. I shall provide nourishment. They cheer and run toward the kitchen. I follow with less enthusiasm. Kitchens in my world are places where servants bustle and fire crackles in massive ovens. Kitchens in this world are full of silent metal boxes that hum in a threatening way. The children climb onto stools and watch me with the reverence typically reserved for royal proclamations. I open the cold metal cabinet they call a fridge and discover food packed in shiny boxes. Some are labeled with pictures. Some are covered in symbols I still cannot read. I locate something called mac and cheese. Mac, curious name for a dish. I prepare it according to my best interpretation of the instructions, which is to say, I stare at the packaging until my eyes blur and then assume it must simply go into the small metal heating box. I place the container inside. How long? The boy asks. As long as required, I declare. This is, in hindsight, not the correct answer. I press random buttons until the device lights up with numbers. It begins to spin. A soft humming fills the air. I feel uneasy. Anything that glows and hums at the same time is never harmless. Suddenly the box makes a violent popping noise. A bright flash erupts inside. I stumble back and shield the children like the noble protector I am. Then another pop. Then smoke. The children scream. I scream internally. Before I can grab a sword I do not have, Damien storms into the kitchen. He moves with the speed and focus of a seasoned warrior. His hand slams a single button. The machine stops. He turns to me. His expression could melt steel. You put foil in the microwave, he says. Did I? I ask, attempting innocence. Yes. Oh. He points at the scorched edges of the food container. Why would you do that? I believed the metal would help contain the heat, I say. He inhales slowly through his nose. That is not how everything works. The children begin recounting the entire event as if telling a heroic legend. He put it in, and then it exploded, and then it almost blew up, and then he jumped like this. I did not jump, I say. You did, the girl replies. Damien crosses his arms. I suddenly feel like a trainee knight being scolded for dropping a spear on someone's foot. Did you not read the instructions? He asks. I decide that honesty is my only path to survival. I tried, but could not understand. Damien blinks. Once, twice. His posture shifts slightly, losing some tension. Is that so? It is not my fault. You use symbols that make no sense. I add quickly. He rubs his temples with 2 fingers, then reaches into a drawer and produces a small rectangular device. The infamous glowing slab known as the phone. We should start with this. If you are going to watch the kids, you need to know how to use a phone. He says. I stare at it like it is an enchanted tablet forged by trickster gods. It mocks me with its emptiness. It is a screen, you touch it. Look. He replies. He turns it on. The screen lights up with colors too vibrant to be natural. He holds it out. I touch it with one cautious finger. The image moves. It slides under my fingertip like living water. I gasp. It shifted. Yes, it scrolls. Damien says, already sounding tired. It scrolls? I repeat, as if learning a forbidden spell. He hands it to me. I take it carefully, treating it like the most fragile of treasures. The surface is smooth and cool. The moment I attempt another scroll, the device slips from my grip. My soul leaves my body. It falls. Damien moves with impossible speed. His hand shoots out and he catches the phone before it hits the ground. He straightens slowly and looks at me. I look everywhere except at him. The ceiling is fascinating. The wall is even more fascinating. My feet are extremely fascinating. The children applaud. That was so cool. Yes, very cool. Excellent reflexes. Well done. I say stiffly. Damien hands the phone back to me with a sigh. We will practice together. Carefully. I take it with both hands this time, clutching it like a sacred artifact. Of course. For a moment the room quiets. Damien's gaze rests on me. Not cold. Not sharp. Confused. Curious. Almost gentle. The silence presses on my chest in a way I cannot explain. He clears his throat. Try not to destroy any more appliances. I will make no promises. I say, then immediately correct myself. I will try. He shakes his head, but a faint smile curves his mouth. The children return to chanting for food. I face the kitchen again. Prince. A warrior. A man who has stood in royal courts. Defeated by a box that heats food. This world is determined to humble me, and I am certain it will succeed. Chapter 5. Adventures at the Amusement Park. Damien announces that we are taking the children to a place called an amusement park. I am not entirely sure what amusement is meant to entail, but judging by the children's excited shrieking, I assume it involves chaos and danger. The park is enormous. Colorful banners flap in the wind. Sweet scents drift through the air. Strange metal beasts tower above us, each filled with screaming people who voluntarily sit inside them as they are spun, dropped, and flung through the sky. I stare upward, horrified. Are those torture devices? They are rides, Damien says. They are loud. Yes, they are unsafe. Most of the time they are fine. Most. I cling to that word like a man clinging to life. The children run ahead, already pointing at the tallest, most terrifying contraption in the park. It roars as it rotates, metal clanking, people upside down and laughing as if their lives are not in mortal danger. We want that one, they shout. No, absolutely not. Choose something less likely to kill you. Or me, I say immediately. They grab my sleeves with both hands, tugging me forward. Please, Mr. Babysitter, come with us. Damien arrives beside me, arms crossed, watching me with too much amusement. They want you to ride with them. I attempt dignity. I do not fear such machines. That is a lie, Damien replies. It is not. It is. The boy grabs my hand. Come on. Somehow they drag me closer. I begin to regret every decision that has brought me here, starting with waking up in this world. The ride operator buckles the children in, then gestures for me to sit beside them. I lower myself cautiously onto the seat. The bar comes down over my lap with a heavy click. I test it. It does not budge. The children are thrilled. Damien leans against the rail. Try not to scream too loudly. I lift my chin. A prince does not scream. The ride moves. I scream internally. The world tilts. The sky vanishes. The ground rushes up and then disappears again. My stomach attempts to escape my body. My fingers clamp around the safety bar as if it is the last remaining object connecting me to life. The children cheer. I pray for mercy. Then I hear it. Damien's laugh. Clear. Warm. Real. He is watching me with a smile that could melt glaciers. I cannot decide if I want to die or impress him. After what feels like several lifetimes, the ride slows. We come to a stop. My legs wobble when I step out, but I manage to stand upright. Barely. That was amazing, the children say. Yes, truly delightful. I am thrilled to still be alive, I say, attempting to breathe normally. Damien hands water to the kids, then glances at me. You handled that better than I expected. I am a man of great resilience, I say. You looked like you were about to pass out. Resilience, I repeat. The children drag us toward a stand selling ice cream. I have never seen anything like it. Colorful frozen swirls served on cones. I try one. It tastes like cold heaven and immediate tooth pain. The kids sit on a bench with their treats, legs swinging, faces smeared with sugar. Damien stands beside me, closer than he has ever stood before. The sun glints off his hair. His sleeves are rolled up. He looks unfairly good for a man who just witnessed my near death. You did well, he says. I swallow. It was nothing. It was something most adults refuse to ride with them. You went without hesitation. He says, I absolutely hesitated, but I will not reveal that. He shifts slightly, and his hand brushes my waist. The touch is light, accidental, barely there. My entire body reacts like I have been struck by lightning. My face heats like someone set a torch beneath my skin. I stare straight ahead, pretending to admire a statue shaped like a giant cartoon bear. I am fine, I say. You are very red, he observes. It is the sun. It is cloudy. It is warm. It is not, he says, amused. I look anywhere except at him. The trees, the sky, the children, who are now licking their ice cream so aggressively it looks like a competition. Damien's fingers brush me again as he adjusts his stance. I stop breathing. This man is dangerous. Not because of his eyes or his voice or the way he carries himself. No, he is dangerous because a single accidental touch from him is enough to unravel me. The children finish their treats and run ahead once more, shouting for the next activity. Damien steps back, giving me space, but the warmth of that brief contact lingers on my skin. You ready for more? He asks. Absolutely not. Yes, I say, because pride is a curse. He smiles at me, not his cold one, not his guarded one, a real smile. My knees nearly fail. We follow the children deeper into the park, and for the first time since arriving in this strange world, I cannot tell if my heart is racing from fear or something far more dangerous. Chapter 6. Picnic in the Sun. Damien declares that we are having a picnic. I am not sure what that means exactly, but I follow the children to the lakeside meadow with all the calm dignity of a prince who has decided to accept his fate, whatever indignities it holds. The place is beautiful. Quiet water, a soft breeze, sunlight warm on my shoulders. If I squint, it almost feels like the gardens back home. Except this world has far more birds and none of them are trained to sing on cue. A shame. It would improve the mood. Damien spreads a large cloth on the grass. The children flop down instantly, legs and limbs everywhere, no concept of posture whatsoever. I clear my throat. In noble households, we sit with grace and discipline. I say, both children look up at me. Then they sit exactly the same as before. Damien snorts softly. I kneel on the blanket with poise. Observe. Proper noble never hunches. Shoulders back. Spine straight. Chin slightly lifted. Feet together. Dignity is key. The boy mimics me for half a second, then collapses sideways. This is boring. It builds character, I insist. Damien is shaking with the effort not to laugh outright. Let them be kids. I am attempting to educate them. You are attempting to turn them into tiny princes. That is arguably an improvement. He opens a container filled with food. Sandwiches, they are called. I have eaten them before, but I still do not understand the point of stacking food between slices of bread. It feels like culinary laziness. Yet somehow these children love them. The girl hands me the ingredients and says, "You make it." I blink. "Me? Yes, make mine pretty," she says, nodding with the authority of a royal advisor. I, Prince Edward of the Upper Realm, have never prepared a meal in my life. I once tried to boil water and nearly collapsed the entire kitchen. But I cannot disappoint this small, stern lordling. I approach the task like a diplomatic negotiation. Bread, meat, leaves, sauces. I assemble it carefully, as if I am crafting a treaty. When I am done, it looks somewhat respectable. The girl takes one bite. Too much mustard. Damien coughs to hide a laugh. I ignore him. It is an acquired taste. She shakes her head. No, it is a bad taste. I accept my defeat with grace. After the meal, the children spin around the field until they wear themselves out. The girl came back toward me, rubbing her eyes. Without a word, she climbs into my lap, curls up like a kitten, and falls asleep instantly. I freeze. I have held swords, diplomas, royal seals. But a sleeping child? I am terrified, and also strangely soft. Her tiny head presses against my chest. Her breath warms my shirt. My hand moves without permission, resting lightly on her back so she does not roll off my knees. Damien kneels in front of us and lifts a strange device. Clicks softly. I blink. "What did you do?" "Took a picture," he says. "A what?" "A photo. You look gentle. It suits you." His voice softens. No one in the palace ever used that word for me. They called me charismatic, polished, dutiful, but never gentle. Gentle people do not survive court politics. Yet here, with this small child on my lap, I feel something close to it. Damien watches me with an expression I cannot decipher. Warm, thoughtful, almost too warm. Eventually, the girl stirs, tiny fingers gripping my shirt. I adjust my hold, then slowly pass her toward Damien. Our hands meet. It is supposed to be a brief transfer. It is not. His fingers brush mine, warm against my skin. Our palms meet for a heartbeat. Then another. He does not pull away. I do not either. The air shifts. The world grows very quiet. The child is still half asleep, oblivious to the tension between the two adults playing tug-of-war with her weight. Damien's thumb grazes the back of my hand before he finally lets go. I tell myself it was accidental. I know it was not. He settles the child against his chest, though his eyes remain on me, searching, curious, almost hesitant, which is strange for a man who normally looks carved from steadiness. I clear my throat. A lovely afternoon. Very peaceful. Is it? He asks softly. My ears burn. I am merely stating a fact. You look different in the sun, he murmurs. I panic internally. Yes, well, light refracts. Shadows fall. Facts. Damien smiles a little. Sure. Facts. The children wake fully a few minutes later, energetic again. We pack up the picnic. The blanket folds neatly. The food leftovers go into containers. The sunlight dips low over the water. As we walk back toward the car, the girl slips her hand into one of mine. A moment later, Damien walks beside me. His hand brushes my other one. He does not hold it, but he walks close enough that he could. And that is somehow even more dangerous. Chapter 7. School Trip Chaos. When Damien informs me that the children have a school excursion and that I am required to attend, I take it as a royal mission. School, after all, must be some extension of noble training. Perhaps the children will learn swordplay, or strategy, or at least proper posture. They do not. Instead, they learn about animals at a local zoo, which is essentially a collection of beasts who glare at visitors while eating snacks. I relate to them more than I should. The moment we arrive, a sea of parents turns toward me. My royal robes billow in the breeze like I am about to announce a decree, which may have been a mistake. They swarm me instantly. Where are you from? Is that traditional clothing? Do all men dress like that in your country? Do you model? I lift my chin, calm and noble. My homeland is small and very old-fashioned. Our customs are strict. Our clothing reflects our history. Translation: I have no idea how to explain any of this. A teacher approaches. She is dressed in plain clothing, but her posture is decent enough. She studies me, nods once and says, "Elegant." I straighten. My shoulders rise. My chest expands with pride. "Thank you." The children pull on my robe immediately. "Ed, look at the monkeys." "Ed, can we get ice cream?" "Ed, he pushed me." I am being attacked from all sides. Royal dignity crumbles instantly. The boy starts climbing a fence. "Down," I command, voice sharp enough to slice fruit. He freezes. The girl reaches for a sign that clearly says "do not touch." "No," I say, narrowing my eyes. She drops her hand and pouts. A group of children nearby begin shrieking for no reason at all. I clap my hands loudly. Silence. They actually stop. Parents look at me with awe and possibly fear. A teacher mutters, "How did you do that?" I answer with confidence, "I am trained in handling nobles." She blinks. "Children aren't nobles." I gesture at the chaos around us. "Are you sure?" Throughout the trip, the children orbit me like tiny planets. I escort them from exhibit to exhibit, explaining animals using what little knowledge I possess. That bird can fly because its bones are hollow, probably. That tiger is roaring because it senses weakness. That penguin is dressed better than most adults here. Teachers take notes. I worry for the future of education. At lunchtime, the children fight over a sandwich. Before they can tear it apart like wolves, I intervene. In my kingdom, disputes are settled through fair negotiation, I declare. They stare. What's that? A process in which you exchange demands and reach peaceful compromise. The girl blinks. You mean take turns? I pause. Yes. Somehow it works. I feel a ridiculous swell of pride. Later, the boy tries to climb inside a trash can for reasons unknown to mankind. I snatch him by the back of his shirt with the reflexes of a trained warrior. No, absolutely not. He dangles there like a captured bandit. Why? Because nothing good has ever come from entering a trash receptacle. He accepts this wisdom with a solemn nod. As the trip winds down, the children cling to my sleeves like vines. I try to walk with dignity. I fail. They pull in different directions until I am a human flagpole. And that is when Damien arrives. He steps out of his sleek black car, tailored suit catching the sunlight. His presence shifts the atmosphere instantly. Parents straighten. Teachers blush. Birds hold their breath. His eyes land on the sight of me, sleeves stretched, children hanging off me like ornaments. His expression softens. Actually softens. It is unfair how handsome he looks when he does that. He walks toward us, voice low. Rough day. Your offspring attempted to climb into a metal waste bin. I inform him gravely. He sighs. Yes, they do that. The children run to him. Daddy, Daddy. Ed was so cool. He yelled at everyone. I cough. I did not yell. I commanded. Same thing, the boy says cheerfully. Damien turns to me. Thank you. I look away because his gratitude feels warm, and I do not trust warmth. I merely fulfilled my duty. He steps closer. Come to dinner. I blink. Tonight? Yes. I cannot. I must return home to rest and reflect. No. No. He smirks slightly. That wasn't a question. My heart does something alarming. Dinner is unnecessary. He bends down slightly, lowering his voice so only I hear. You're coming. A shiver runs down my spine. Unfortunately obvious. I will consider it, I say. You'll be in the car, he counters. The children cheer. Dinner. Dinner with Ed. I sigh, resigned to my fate. Very well. Damien's smile is small but victorious. As he ushers the children into the car, his hand brushes my back. Light, warm, intentional. I pretend not to notice. I fail completely. Chapter 8. First kiss at midnight. Dinner at Damien's mansion should be a simple event. Food, conversation, maybe the children throwing peas at my face. That is what I expect. What I do not expect is danger. Because danger does not always have a blade. Sometimes it has a fine suit, quiet confidence, and eyes that make my heart stage a revolt. The moment I step inside, I know I am doomed. The lights are dimmer than usual. The air feels warmer. Damien looks far too composed. This is not a normal meal. This is a trap crafted by a beautiful man who does not play fair. He gestures me inside. Relax. It's just dinner. Nothing about this feels just anything. The children are already eating in the next room. A nanny watches over them, which means I have been cornered into a private dinner with the man who haunts my dreams in inconvenient ways. Damien pours wine into my glass. The liquid glimmers dark red, like danger in a cup. I eye it. I do not trust wine. He raises an eyebrow. Why? It leads to emotions. That makes him laugh under his breath. I'll risk it. He taps my glass gently. I pick it up with the caution of a man lifting a venomous snake. I take a sip. Warm flavor. Smooth. A little too smooth. My guard drops a fraction. He sits across from me. So, tell me about your home. He asked. Panic. I reach for the bread. I reach for anything that will save me. It is small. I figured. And old. He smirks. Also figured. And private. His brows lift. That I didn't figure. I scramble internally. The palace was enormous and full of spies. There was nothing private about it, but he does not need to know that. I clear my throat. Yes, very private. Very traditional. Traditional how? I stab a piece of chicken as if it insulted me. We do not discuss our past over dinner. Damien leans back, amused. Convenient rule. It is respected by all noble families. Is it? Yes. He hums, clearly unconvinced. I am losing ground rapidly. After a while he stands to clear the plates. I stand too out of habit. He puts a hand on my shoulder. Ed, sit. My heart flips. Stupid heart. He pours us another glass. I drink too fast. Mistake. Warmth creeps into my cheeks. He notices. Of course he notices. He steps closer. I take a step back. He closes the gap again. I step back. He advances. I retreat further until my back hits something solid. I turn my head and glare at the unhelpful wall. Traitor. Damien stops an arm's length away. The space between us crackles. His voice drops, quiet and warm enough to melt steel. Why do you keep running? I do not run, I reposition. Sure. He takes one slow step forward. We are close enough now that I can feel the heat from his chest. I straighten my spine instinctively, clinging to royal dignity like a drowning man to driftwood. Damien, I say, trying to sound firm. This is. He reaches out. Fingers graze my face. Light, careful, as if he is touching a fragile artifact. My breath catches. Improper. Maybe. His hand cups the side of my face. I forget how to speak. He leans in slowly, giving me every chance to run. I should push him away. Truly. I should be a responsible adult and reject the advances of a handsome, infuriating man in a modern world I barely understand. But I do not move. When his lips touch mine, the world stops. Soft, slow, warm. Nothing like the desperate, fumbling kisses nobles steal behind curtains. This one feels careful, intentional, devastating. My hand grips his shirt on instinct. For a moment, I forget what world I am in. I forget my title, my duties, the palace, everything. There is only this man, this kiss. Eventually, I break away first. Reality crashes back in. I look anywhere except his eyes. This cannot happen. He whispers, voice low and maddening. It already did. My entire soul short-circuits. I bolt. Not gracefully. Not nobly. I flee like a spooked deer, nearly tripping on the carpet, heading straight for the guest room. I slam the door shut and whisper into the empty room. I am in so much trouble. Chapter 9. Business dinner disaster. I should have known something was wrong the moment Damien appeared at my door holding a suit. Not just any suit. A sleek, dark, terrifying creation that looked like it had been tailored by a pack of wolves with expensive tastes. You're wearing this, he said. I replied with the dignity of a prince. Over my dead body. 5 minutes later, I was wearing it. The fabric clung to my shoulders. The collar strangled me slowly. The shoes shined so brightly I could see my fear reflected in them. Every step felt like walking in ceremonial armor crafted by drunk tailors. We arrive at the event. A grand business dinner held in a hotel ballroom so polished it could house royalty. I attempt to step confidently through the doors, but the suit squeaks. Actually squeaks. I freeze. Damien rests a hand on my back. Relax. I am relaxed. You're vibrating. That is the suit's fault. We walk in, and instantly every eye locks on me. I feel like a rare artifact on display. A group of elegantly dressed people approach. Oh my, who's this? A woman says. A man touches my sleeve. Interesting fashion choice. Exotic, someone else whispers. I lift my chin. I am from a small and very old-fashioned country. Damien hides a smile. He's helping with my kids. The group's interest spikes. A babysitter? Impossible. I am highly qualified, I declare. I have no idea if that is true. People start circling like curious falcons. One woman leans far too close. Are you single? Before I can even inhale, Damien steps behind me. His hand settles on my lower back. Warm, firm, possessive in a way that makes my heart stutter. He's with me, Damien says, voice low enough to make a king kneel. My ears burn. My face burns. My soul burns. The woman retreats swiftly. Another man tries his luck, smiling at me with the charm of a fox who has eaten several chickens. If you ever get tired of working for Damien, I could use someone as striking as you. Damien's hand tightens. He's not available. Not available. That is a phrase. I open my mouth to correct him, but nothing comes out. My brain abandons me entirely. Throughout the evening, I am introduced to businessmen, politicians, investors, and people who talk about numbers as if they are living beings. They laugh at things I do not understand. They clink glasses after every sentence. They compliment my appearance so blatantly I consider fleeing back to the kitchens. But Damien is always a step behind me. Hand at my back. Voice low. Eyes sharp whenever someone gets bold. He is claiming me without saying it outright. And everyone sees it, which is unfair, because I am still recovering from the last kiss. The real trouble begins halfway through dinner when a tall, smug man approaches Damien with a sneer. Still playing house with those kids? No wonder you're unreliable. He says. Damien replies coolly. My children are none of your business. The man chuckles, dismissive. Everything's my business if it affects the company. Maybe if you stopped collecting strays you could actually. I set my glass down with royal precision. Silence. The man blinks, offended. What? I take one step forward, posture straight, voice cold enough to freeze the room. You will not speak to Damien that way. Not in my presence. Who are you? The man snaps. I meet his eyes without flinching. Someone with excellent hearing and very low tolerance for disrespect. Damien coughs, probably hiding a laugh or possibly choking on pure shock. The man scoffs. This is a business event. You have no. I have plenty. Starting with the right to defend someone who deserves far more courtesy than you seem capable of offering. I cut in. The room falls dead silent. The man's face reddens. He stumbles back a step, mutters something, and retreats. I lift my chin proudly. That is when Damien grabs my wrist. Not harshly, not even firmly, but with intent. He pulls me close until our bodies almost touch, until I can feel the heat of him through the ridiculous suit. His breath brushes my neck. My pulse abandons all rational behavior. "You didn't have to do that," he murmurs. "I know, but I wanted to," I whisper back. He exhales slowly, the sound warm against my skin. My legs nearly give out. "Ed, I like when you protect me," he says, voice quieter than I have ever heard it. My heart attempts to punch through my ribs. "Damien," I manage, barely. His hand slides from my wrist to my waist, a touch so light it is torture. "But be careful. People will think you belong to me." I swallow, loudly, embarrassingly. "I do not belong to anyone," I say, though it comes out much weaker than intended. He leans even closer. "Then why do you look at me like you might?" I make a strangled noise that is definitely not noble. He smiles. "I decide this entire evening is a danger to my health." And yet, when his hand stays at my waist as he guides me through the rest of the night, I do not move it away. Not even once. Chapter 10. The truth cracks open. I should have known the universe would betray me eventually. Secrets never last long in a palace, let alone in a modern mansion with children who open every drawer like treasure hunters. The disaster begins when I return from a walk with the children. I step into my room and freeze. Damien stands in the middle of it, and in his hands, held like delicate evidence of a crime, is my diary that I've been updating for a while, about this world, about my situation, and about him. My heart drops into my stomach. My soul leaves my body. My knees consider collapsing. He turns toward me slowly. "Ed, is this yours?" I am doomed. I straighten my spine. I try to appear regal. I fail spectacularly. My voice comes out strangled. "Damien, I can explain." He lifts the robes a little. "You wrote this?" "Yes," I confess, mentally planning my escape route involving a window and a flower bed. "Why the things in this feels wrong. And why you wrote this like you are someone out of a historical drama." I swallow, loudly. "Because I am from another place." He steps closer. My back hits the wall. Why is it always the wall? "Who are you, Ed?" The question pierces through my chest. My breath catches, panic swelling. "I am not from this world. I was born in a palace, raised as a prince, trained to rule. And one night, after a day of meetings and ceremonies and endless obligations, I fell asleep in my own bed. And when I woke, I was here." The silence swallows the room whole. I wait for the mockery, the disbelief, the cold dismissal I have heard from every adult in my life whenever I tried to speak truths they did not like. But Damien does none of that. He places the robes on the bed carefully and steps forward until he is close, very close. His gaze searches my face with a softness that unravels me. "Ed, look at me," he says quietly. I do. His hands rise, slow and steady, until he cups my face. His palms are warm, gentle, devastating. "I believe you." The words hit harder than any sword strike I have ever taken. My throat tightens painfully. A burn gathers behind my eyes. No one in the palace ever believed me when I cried, when I struggled, when I whispered anything real. Belief was not something princes received. Only orders. "You believe me?" I repeat, barely audible. "Yes. Why wouldn't I?" His thumbs brush my cheekbones. A laugh escapes me, shaky and broken. "Because it sounds ridiculous. Because it makes no sense. Because I am ridiculous. Ed, I believe you." His voice is so soft it threatens to undo me entirely. The room tilts. My heart cracks open like a poorly guarded vault. Then he leans in. This kiss is nothing like the first. That one was slow, cautious, testing. This one is certain. Warm. Sure. A pull instead of a question. I gasp softly as his mouth presses to mine, and my hands move without permission. They grip his shirt, pulling him closer, holding on like he is the only solid thing in a shifting world. The kiss deepens, heat flooding my chest, my throat, every unprotected part of me. He tastes like wine and danger and comfort. a combination I am entirely unprepared for. His fingers slide into my hair. I melt. I kiss him back harder, desperate, terrified, relieved. His breath mixes with mine. His body presses closer. My heart threatens to riot out of my ribs. When we finally break apart, both breathless, I rest my forehead against his. Damien, I do not know what to do. I whisper, still gripping his shirt. He exhales softly, brushing a finger along my jaw. Then let me show you. My knees nearly give out. And for the first time in a long, long life, I do not feel lost. I feel chosen. Chapter 11. A family I did not expect. If someone had told me a year ago that a deposed prince from another world would one day be constructing a pillow fort for two tiny, sticky-fingered nobles, I would have banished them for treason. Yet here I am, architect of a fortress built entirely of cushions, blankets, and my rapidly diminishing dignity. Higher, Ed, the boy commands, pointing toward a stack of pillows like a general sending troops to battle. The girl hands me a plush dragon. This is your guard, he will protect you, she declares. A stuffed dragon is the most loyal guard I have ever had. I accept it graciously. Then comes the movie night. The children decree I must sit between them. I agree because saying no to them feels like saying no to fate itself. So we arrange ourselves on the couch. Two miniature nobles on either side of me, one holding my hand, the other using my lap as a pillow. I try to watch the glowing box they call a television. Instead, my attention drifts to their peaceful breathing, the warmth of them, their trust. Slowly, my eyelids droop, and I fall asleep. I wake to quiet. The children are gone. Tucked away in their beds, I assume. But what truly jolts me is the warmth around my shoulders. Damien's coat. He draped it over me. I sit up slowly, heart thundering as if my own ribs are battlements in a siege. Damien sits beside me, one arm stretched behind the couch, head tilted as though he had also dozed off while watching over me. His shoulder brushes mine. My breath abandons me entirely. How long was I asleep? I whisper. He doesn't open his eyes, just murmurs back in a voice softened by exhaustion. Long enough for me to consider carrying you to bed. You. That would be improper. I sputter, cheeks flaming. His eyes open now, amused and warm. Would it? I clear my throat with royal dignity, which sounds suspiciously like a squeak. A quiet moment passes. Then, unexpectedly, Damien's voice drops into something terrifyingly gentle. You fit here, Ed. My chest constricts. Fit? Where? With us. My heart performs an elaborate series of cartwheels. Damien. He turns toward me fully, expression unguarded. The children adore you, and I like you more than I should. I stare at him, and I fear that I will wake up one morning and find this all gone. Just another dream, another world that slips from my fingers. I admit slowly. He reaches out and threads his fingers through mine. I do not breathe for several seconds. You won't lose this, not if I have anything to say about it, he says softly. I should pull away. A noble should maintain composure, distance, control. Instead, I lean forward, my forehead brushing his shoulder. It is the smallest surrender. He wraps his arms around me, solid, warm, real. I sink into him, letting myself be held, letting myself belong. Even if it is foolish, even if it is dangerous. For the first time, I do not feel like a misplaced prince. I feel like part of a family I never expected, and never want to lose. Chapter 12. Edward Hale. The morning begins with two small nobles launching themselves onto my bed like warriors storming a castle. Ed, stay forever, the girl demands, climbing directly onto my chest. Yes. Forever and ever, the boy adds, tugging at my sleeve with the raw determination of a seasoned diplomat. I am not awake enough to process eternity. I blink at them, dazed. Forever is a significant political commitment. They ignore every word and simply hug me. Both of them, at once. I melt instantly. My royal training is useless against this. When they finally drag me out of bed, I stumble into the kitchen to find Damien waiting with a mug of coffee and a look that makes my knees feel unreliable. "Good morning, Ed." His voice is warm. Too warm. Dangerous. I move to sit, but he steps into my path. I halt, slowly, like a deer facing a very handsome wolf. He studies me for a moment. His eyes flick from my hair to my mouth, then back to my eyes with deliberate slowness. My breath deserts me. "I have a question," he says. My heartbeat trips. Questions are often traps. He smiles. "Then consider yourself caught." He gestures toward the hallway. "Move in with me." I freeze. The air leaves my lungs so forcefully I cough like an elderly duke choking on wine. He tries not to laugh. "The master bedroom has more space." More space. Yes, that is his reasoning. Not romance. Not emotions. Space. Practical man to the end. I manage to speak. Barely. "Damien. Sharing a room implies a level of intimacy and commitment that we already have," he finishes, stepping closer. My back hits the counter. Of course. My spine is becoming familiar with the feeling of being trapped by this man. "Ed, you belong here. With us. With me," he says softly. I want to deny it, to preserve some last shred of princely pride. But the truth is simple. I already do. His hand lifts to my jaw. His thumb brushes my cheek. Heat crawls across my skin until I am certain I will combust. Then he kisses me, and the world stops. Warm, deep, slow. A kiss that presses into my bones, steadies my heart, silences every doubt I have ever carried. I hold his shirt and pull him closer without thinking, without caution. He smiles into the kiss, the infuriating man. "So is that a yes?" he murmurs against my lips. "Yes," I whisper, because anything else would be a lie. And just like that, Edward the Prince becomes Edward Hale. Not a title forced on me. Not a role thrust upon me. A name I choose. Later that afternoon, Damien tells the children. They erupt into cheers so loud the neighbors might file a noise complaint. "You're part of our family now," the girl shouts, hugging my waist. "You can't ever leave," the boy adds, gripping my hand like a tiny politician securing a treaty. Their happiness hits me like sunlight, blinding and warm. We celebrate with a picnic in the garden. Damien stands beside me, close enough that our arms touch. The children run in circles around us, shrieking with joy. At some point, Damien threads his fingers through mine. I look at him. He looks at me. No words, just certainty. Later, we take a family photo in the sun. Damien stands behind me, tall and steady. His hand rests at my waist. The children cling to my legs, wide smiles plastered across their faces after I promise extra dessert. The photographer tells me to smile. I do. Not the stiff, practiced smile of a prince. Not the polite smile of a guest. A real one. Full one. The kind I thought I had lost somewhere between worlds. The shutter clicks. And there it is. Proof that I am no longer alone. Proof that I have a place. A home. Edward Hale. Partner. Protector. Foolishly, hopelessly in love. And finally at peace.